It's the morning of day 4 of my Alberta mule deer hunt. I've had my chances to stalk a few great bucks, but I've blown every one of them. The deer here seem to have superpowers, and it's weighing me down. At times, it feels like an impossible hunt. I've never spent any real time hunting open country like this, and I've made some serious rookie mistakes that have cost me some great opportunities. But I'm learning quickly, and today, my goal is not to repeat the same mistakes I made earlier this week. I might make new mistakes, but I don't plan to repeat the old ones. I'm with friend and guide Ben Jackson. We've spotted this buck in the early morning light, leaving the ag fields heading to his bedding area. Our strategy is the same every morning. We arrive at a glassing point before daylight. As the sun comes up, we search for a good buck. The land here is mostly flat and open with no cover, except for the canyons that occasionally gape open and give way to secret hideaways in a maze of hidden coulees. Every morning these bucks walk the wide open prairie and then disappear from view when they drop into one of these jagged cracks that split the surface of the prairie. Then the chess match begins. These mule deer seem to have ultrasonic hearing and enhanced eyesight. In general, mule deer like to bed high on a steep cliff wall, facing downhill with the wind at their back. It's nearly impossible to stalk a buck from below. The best way to hunt a buck like this is to sneak in above them, without them smelling you, and shoot them from above. This is easier said than done. The wind rarely cooperates. Finding a group of deer without them finding you is tricky business. About the only way to look over the edge into a coulee without being seen by a wary buck is by laying flat on your stomach and peering through the 12-inch grass with your binoculars until you find them. That's not so bad, except this country is littered with cactuses. They're everywhere. They're like little landmines spread every 2 feet that cause torture and pain. Still, it's the most effective way to find the deer before they find you. I've been looking for the buck that we saw disappear into this coulee earlier this morning. I've been combing the edge of the coulee inch by inch for the past 30 minutes, painstakingly picking it apart, looking for a glimpse of antler tips or a tuft of brown-gray fur. I've abandoned my boots in favor of soft-soled tennis shoes because the boots simply made too much noise. I'd rather be stalking this deer in my socks or even my bare feet, but the cactus situation makes that a painful proposition. This particular coulee is narrow and steep. I'm confident that if I can find this buck in this coulee, I'll have an excellent chance of getting a shot in bow range from the coulee's edge. I've got to keep the wind in my favor and find him before he finds me. I found him. The buck we've been looking for is 30 yards below me. The shot angle is nearly straight down. I'm feeling pretty good about this because I've practiced this shot many times, except I've never done it from a kneeling position on a steep slope, which could make things very interesting. There are 2 bucks. The buck I'm after is tucked away in the sagebrush, up tight against the hillside. I don't have a clean shot. I'm going to have to wait until he stands up. I don't like to wait. A lot of things can go wrong while you wait for an animal to stand up. All it takes is a little twist of the wind, and then I'm staring at butts and dust as the deer sprint away. Still, in this situation, waiting is really my only option. I've got my big camera trained on the buck. I look at my camera's screen, and to my dismay, I'm having a battery crisis. All I can do is hope the buck stands up before I run out of juice, but it doesn't happen. And the camera dies seconds after I noticed the battery meter. We're trying to get out of the wind here. Woohoo! We did it. See if I can get the camera down low. It's pretty windy, so you're probably going to pick up some sound, but dang! Action Jackson! We did it!
Good job, bud.
I was thinking we were going to be sitting there a long time, and we kind of were. I wasn't looking forward to that, and then it's a good thing you were there, because I was ready to like just sneak on in and try to shoot him bedded, and there really wasn't a shot. He had a lump in front of him.
Degrees,
so steep, man. And but I waited because Ben's like, this is a bad idea to try something else. So we waited, and he stood up, and he was facing downhill, and I was like, now's the time. And I went to draw my bow back. And that 80 pounds, I really felt it when I was like laying sideways.
You pulled a solid 55 of the 80.
Yeah, I was like, this is not going to work. As I'm using my abs and everything, I'm like, this is not going to work. So I had to like lean forward a little bit, but when I went to pull, I was looking at him out of the corner of my eye. That's probably part of the problem. I was trying to like keep dibs on him and pull.
Yeah.
And I saw him jerk his head up and look right at us, and I was like, oh, nuts. So I got down, and I tried to draw kind of laying down sideways.
Yeah, no, you did a good job. You didn't have a clue we were there.
That second time I got the bow back, leaned over, and I was like, holy cow, this is straight down. And when you're on your knees or your butt, how do you get that angle? I'm checking the bubble. I'm leaning over. I'm like, this is steep.
And we talked about that right before, so
Yep.
You did a great job.
So I tried to clear it, and I felt the cam digging into my hip. I was like, whoa, this is steep. So I had to get up higher, leaned over, and I had a solid shot. It was like 23 yards on the rangefinder with angle compensation. So, but I was surprised. When the arrow went in, he was quartering away from me just a tiny bit, and I kind of aimed for his vitals. But still, it looked right on. I mean, I thought it was a solid hit.
First shot. Yeah, he just went. We went up.
I told you, I'm like, he's dead, and he was dead. I mean, it's just a matter of time. But you spotted him over here. We ran over, got another shot in him, and then he just ran another 50 yards and got low again. And I hate to see him suffer. So
the whole thing seems longer at the time, though.
Yeah. So I got the other one in him. Anyway, but yeah, we didn't quit. Team never quit.
Team never quit. Right on.
Thanks, Ben.
Good job.
Let's go check this guy out. The first shot on this buck was fatal, and it cleanly pierced his vitals, but he didn't go down. I hate to see animals suffer, and when possible, I will always shoot them again if I have the opportunity. I have tremendous respect for this buck and his will to survive. He didn't go down easy, and I have mixed emotions about that. At times like this, I am reminded of a quote by Fred Bear, which somewhat describes my thoughts on this matter. Quote, I have always tempered my killing with respect for the game pursued. I see the animal not only as a target, but as a living creature with more freedom than I will ever have. I take that life if I can, with regret as well as joy, and with the sure knowledge that nature's way of fang and claw and starvation are a far crueler fate than I bestow. I do not hunt for the joy of killing, but for the joy of living, and the inexpressible pleasure of mingling my life, however briefly, with that of a wild creature that I respect, admire, and value.